Hi, Atlanta. We're back in the studio recording with an amazing young woman here, Sydney. I am so blessed to have her here with me because she's self-made, y'all. And she told me herself. She's a brilliant mind in science and doing great work as a young Black girl. And I want to highlight her story because it's important in honor of Black History Month that we capture the story of these brilliant, beautiful, amazing Black women. So we have Sydney here in the studio. It's her first podcast, but I know she's going to do amazing because I can tell just looking at you. I know you're going to do.
Thank you.
And I know because we have a little script here, and she said, I'm going to free flow. So I'm not going to use this. So I was like, okay.
I love talking, so I'm a talker.
I love it. So typically what we do when we start off our podcast is I would introduce the guests. And typically I read the bio, but I want you today to tell me about yourself and to sort of give me your bio and those that are listening.
So I want to start off by saying my name is Sydney Hill. Mm-hmm. I am a college student.
Yeah.
And I am, I guess you would say, self-made. And the reason why I say that is because I've never necessarily had a mentor or someone guiding me through the trajectory of how my life is supposed to be as a college student, even as a woman. Mm-hmm. And so I have literally found love and mentorship into books.
I love that.
So any book that talks about your strengths and weaknesses, I read. Anything that I lack on, I read.
Yes.
So if I'm bad at initiating conversations, I'm reading books on how to conversate, how to converse better. If that makes sense. If let's say I want to learn how to be a better mathematician, I read math books for fun, and I go down to the basics. Anything that I struggle with, I just read about it because, in today's world, someone might not always, they'll see you doing something, but they might not always give you the advice to say, hey, you're doing it wrong. Let's do it this way. And I feel like we need a lot of that. And that's not happening right now.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love that. And you just jumped right into like some of the things that we are going to talk about, which is some of the struggles that Black young ladies your age deal with. You're in your 20s, I assume.
25.
25.
Yes.
So I love that age. That's like one of the best ages ever because it's a turning point. You have the opportunity at 25 to really turn your life in the direction that you want to. And not to say if you're over 25, you can't. But at this age, your 20s, when you're vibrant and you're lively and you're young and you have the world in front of you, that is the age that you can really turn things around how you want them to be. But you talked about being self-made. What were some of the reasons why you had to sort of pour into yourself? What was lacking around you that you did not have?
I'm going to say how you started off the podcast and said, we're going to bring the spotlight to Sydney. I didn't have that growing up. And so that reflected a lot of my schoolwork, a lot of my self-esteem, confidently, like talking and just being comfortable with my own skin. And so for those reasons, I am super big on youth.
Yes.
Because I'm one of those people that's like, I tell people, I'm at the point where I say I love my past. Like I love all the L's I took, all the backlashes I had to go through, but it made me for who I am today.
Love it.
And I'm like so appreciative because of that. And I'm able to move forward and do things more so on a different pathway.
Yes.
And so since I am big on youth, I am so big on mentorship because if I can stop a cycle that I was going through when I was like 11, I'm going to stop it right then and there so they don't have to go through what I have to go through. And so they can just move better than me.
That's so powerful.
I feel like you each one teach one. That's how life needs to be.
I love everything that you're saying, but I want to get a little personal if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So you talked about some of the things that you, in a general sense, that you had to go through. But just for the girls, Black ladies that are listening right now that may want to feel and relate to what you've been through, can you talk about what some of those challenges were for you?
For sure. So in middle school, there's always the popular girl, the crew, the clique. And you get so used to people saying, oh, she's beautiful, she's cute, I really like her. How come they're not saying it about me? She is lighter than me. Okay, she is a different race than me. And when you see, like, let's say a lot of boys are liking this certain girl, you start feeling a little down. Like, why aren't they like me? Or no one's really telling me I'm beautiful on the day-to-day.
Right.
I think mentorship is good for parents as well. Like, that is really big to tell your daughter or son, you're handsome, like, you're beautiful. Right. Don't ever let anyone tell you you're not. I didn't have that growing up. No shade, Mom, Dad, I love you guys. But kids need that, and I needed that. And that that could be detrimental moving forward as far
That's
as
right.
going through schoolwork.
Mm-hmm.
You're not confident in your schoolwork. You're not confident doing projects.
Right.
It's just things like that. I was bullied when I was younger,
Mm.
and I'm anti-bully now.
Yes.
But I know how that made me feel,
Right.
and it made me feel like I was in a hole. And it's like, why won't these guys just give me a chance? Because I have so much to offer, but at the same time, it's like, why am I telling these people to see my worth, and why am I not seeing that within myself?
Yes.
So that's why I'm big on youth today.
Wow. That's so powerful. It's so real. You almost made me go back to my childhood when I was in my I think middle school. It was such a confusing time for me. And I remember always just getting in trouble. I was in a dean's office every day, y'all. Every single day. I think I lived in a dean's office. I was always in trouble.
Wow.
And I remember dealing with a lot of self-esteem issues when I was in middle school and high school. And gratefully, I did have mentors that I still, to this day, am connected to. And every time they see me, they're hugging and kissing me like I'm still 10 years old. I'm like, hey, guys, I'm, all right now.
Right.
But they raised me. And it was essentially my church growing up that really poured into me. And I don't know where I would have been if it wasn't for those Black women that took a chance on me, that believed in me. And that scene when I was going through things like low self-esteem and depression as a child, and see not me for who I was, but who I was meant to be. And so mentorship, you talked about that. You lacked that growing up, but yet in lacking that, you really lacked nothing, because it allowed you to come back and say, because I didn't receive this, I'm now fueled and empowered to help another generation.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm big on flipping things around. So instead of taking all that negativity and packing it in,
Right.
I chose to push it out and
Yes.
just give positive energy out.
Mm-hmm. What does that look like on college campus for you?
I am big on inclusivity. So I like to bring everyone together. I started a club called Scrubs. And so it's a pre-med club, right? And I was like, instead of people just being in a club that they all want to be a doctor, right?
Right.
How about we bring all the pre-med majors together? And so,
love that.
hey, I could say, hey, I know a nurse, or I know a person going to pre-veterinary or a pre-dental. And it's just good to have people of all different types of networks, because you learn different things from different people. They see different things in different perspectives.
Yes.
I am big on that. So then I jumped over. I'm one of those people where once I conquer something, I kind of just jump on to the next, because I don't know, I'm just one
You're
of
a
those people.
creative.
Yeah, if I'm not moving forward, I'm just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I jumped into student government. So I'm like, we should make the school better.
Yeah.
There can be better things done. And I was a Senate for School of Technology, Science and Technology.
I love it. So you got into essentially government in school.
Yeah.
You started a club. Naturally, you talked to me about this before we started recording entrepreneurship.
Well, what happened was I was actually a member of the club. And one of the president at the time said a GPA for the pre-dental, it was so wrong. And I was like, I got to turn this around. And so I jumped in and I ran the next semester and I got it.
I love it. So you seen a problem. You were able to recognize it and you created a solution for it.
Exactly. But not many people are speaking up when something is being told wrong.
Yeah.
That is a problem for today in everyone's community. If someone's saying something blatantly wrong and everyone's agreeing around it, but they're blatantly wrong, it's okay to speak up and say your opinion. That's how I feel about it.
I love it. And what was that like finding your voice? You talked about, growing up and dealing with certain challenges. What was it like for you being able to find the confidence to speak up and find your voice?
A lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
A lot of people that I really care about, I would ask them, is there anything I could do better? I'm big on feedback.
Yeah.
Like, it's good to have criticism, because sometimes that can really make you for who you want to be or who you should be.
Yeah.
I hope that answered the question.
It does. I love that. Is there like a mentor that you sort of maybe like far away that maybe you haven't met, but you sort of aspire and you look at and you're like, yeah, I really want to be like that woman, or, is there someone for you that, and if so, who would that be?
Everybody asks me this. That's so crazy.
It might just be yourself.
Ben Carson. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a self-made Black doctor. And he actually separated Siamese twins in surgery.
Yes.
Brain surgery, I believe. I read his books, and to me, he's self-made, and it really helped me.
Wow.
Really helped me. My very first book I read was The Successful Principles by Jack Canfield.
Mm-hmm.
And he was basically saying how you can be whatever you want. And so I started thinking, okay, what if I can go as far up as I want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm headed.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just keep going.
Headed up. What does it look like for you? What are your vision, your goals, like, next few years, 5 years when you hit the big 3-0? What are you sort of hoping to achieve?
Wow. I would say all I really care about right now is getting into dental school.
Mm-hmm.
That's like my biggest thing right now. But I will forever continue to do youth and do mentorship and anything, I don't know, anything that anything that inspires me, like I'll try to get into. I'm one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you want to sort of leave it open. You have this goal to be in dental school, but at the same time, you know that there's a part of you that likes to empower others, and you want to stay open to that.
For sure.
Now, you're talking about the young people, and I know you're a coach with I Raise Girls and Boys International. Shout out to the See Her, Be Her program. And so you're one of the coaches out here in Metro Atlanta. What inspired you to sort of get into coaching? And it may have been some of the things that you already talked about, but what was it that really inspired you to want to coach a young Black girl?
So I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I was diagnosed with ADHD, I want to say last year, very late. And I only got tested because my grades. It's like I always felt like I'm missing the train by a second. I'm like, why do I keep feeling like I'm missing the train by a second? And a lot of the things that I did, I wasn't really finishing things. Like I would start things, but I wouldn't finish it. And the pattern kept happening. And I'm like, okay, my mom and dad are like, you're distracted. You're going out with friends. You're doing this, your job. Okay, how about I quit everything and just do school? So I just did school. Same problem. So I'm like, okay, there's a problem. And to me, it's like, for me to actually go to seek professional help. And in the Black community, they don't really talk about that.
That's right.
Or if you tell them, I'm depressed, or I something's going on with your mom or cousin Jen, I feel like I can't really focus too much. Oh, just drink some water, go outside, go for a run, go to take a nap. But you don't got none of that. I'm like, okay. And also, I was working at a pediatric office, right? And I noticed that in other cultures, a lot of the younger kids are on special medications as far as like at ADHD.
Right.
And not a lot of Black kids for like the Black community. And I started noticing it might be a culture thing. Like, why is it more so like, they're getting more professional help, or if that's their culture thing, why isn't our culture kind of like that? And I'm just, when I got help, right, my grades got better because I was told ADHD, and I was told how to deal with it, how to manage it, how to just be more of an optimal student about it. And so after that, my grades got good. I'm like, okay, wow, I feel like my whole life was a lie. But if I could stop someone from being in my shoes right now at the age of like 12, who knows where they could be by the time they're my age. That's why I joined I Raise, because I started just kind of going towards my passions.
Right.
That's it. I just moved towards my passions. Anything that I really, really care about, I go towards. And I was looking up volunteer stuff, and I Raise popped up. And I was like, oh my God, let's try it out.
Right.
And then I spoke to you, and I've been hooked ever since.
And here she is in a studio with us, y'all.
So excited.
I love that so much. And you have such a powerful story, and just hearing how you've been, your trajectory, your journey, and how you've evolved and are evolving as a young Black lady, I think is just so incredible. And just your resilience and all the things that you've been able to overcome. But then that tenacity that you have, where you're just like, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep soaring. And that's the pathway I'm on. And I think that's powerful, because a lot of young Black girls, a lot of young Black ladies, sometimes they go through life and life beats them down.
I agree.
And because of that, they take a step back and they don't want to fight. They give up the fight, sometimes as young as 21, because they've been so beat down.
I agree.
So for those women or ladies that may be struggling, what would you sort of say to encourage them?
I would say we'll never get tomorrow back, right? Every day is a new day. Every day is a new chance. Every hour is a new chance. You can go to a different school and be a new person. Or you can say, you know what? That was the old me. I am so big on change. I believe people can change. I'm one of those people where it's like, okay, yeah, you were like this in the past, but you're here now, and I love you now. And of course, I love you back then, but I love you now because you've changed. You evolve.
Yes.
Humans evolve. As long as you're evolving and adapting, that's all I care about. A lot of other people don't really see that, but as long as you see that, you can go wherever you want. As long as you keep adapting and evolving.
And you have to be, I think there has to be some level of hope and faith.
Faith, for sure.
Want to be able to adapt. Because when you go through trauma, which is interesting, you talked about ADHD, one of the misdiagnoses in Black communities within children of color is ADHD. A lot of those kids are actually dealing with trauma, and they're misdiagnosed in the Black community for many reasons. There are a lot of mental health disparities within children of color. A lot of them are not getting professional help. Many reasons why. There's a lot of distrust in Black communities when it comes to medicine, right?
Yep, I agree.
And so, this is why we need Black young women like you that are going to be trailblazing the field.
For sure.
There's so many, and we covered these segments in the past, I think on our fireside chats mainly, but we talked about medical racism that exists. We have Black doctors, women of color, and Black men that are doctors that talked about racism that exists even in medical school and how to change curricula and change academia to make sure it's inclusive and that they're not training every nurse and doctor how to be a white male doctor, but how to be a Black woman doctor or a Black man doctor. Those trainings don't necessarily exist based on some of the testimonies that we've heard. So you are trailblazing this field in so many ways, and definitely want to encourage you to think about what that looks like for your generation, for the generation that's the next generation of doctors that's coming up. What does that look like? And encourage you to really start to vision and transcend that.
So previously I was, they call it a polisher at work. And so I basically I'll go in and I'll start the cleaning for the kids, and then I'll have a hygienist jump in after me. And so a lot of them would be timid and then kind of scared and anxious. And I would kind of within the first 10 minutes of the appointment, I kind of read them. I ask them certain questions based off their answers. That lets me know their personality type. I've studied personality type, so I'm just able to pick it up really quick. Okay, this kid's like this. I know how to get him. And so let's say we're in x-rays, right? And they're not actually being cooperative about it. And so then let's say my worker A is going to say, you know what, this kid's not good at x-rays. Let's put on the note. I'm like, wait a minute. How about we approach it in a different way? Because everyone can't be approached the same way.
That's right.
So let's approach a different way. This kid's fiddling around. I'm like, okay, how about you say, ah, keep saying ah, make the noise. And then I'm going to slowly go in. I approach it differently. This kid got the x-rays in. It's all about how you approach it. It's all about how you approach it.
It reminds me of a quick story I wanted to share really fast. My daughter, who you met out there, Genesis, horror story, had to get stitches out here, and we went to Wellstar. And I was like, oh my God, all these white people are gonna judge me out here. And so we had a Black female doctor. I never forget, because she had her bonnet on, and I was like, what in the world is happening? But I was also really comfortable, like, wow, okay, so we get a Black female doctor, and my daughter's freaking out, and they're like, oh, we're gonna have to give her medication because she's not able to calm down. I was like, okay, that's not happening. We're gonna work it out. And the Black female doctor came, and she did her Black femaleness. Okay, whatever that is, she worked her Black magic, calmed my daughter down, did the stitches, encouraged her so much. A very unique approach, understanding as a Black woman how to connect to a Black girl patient.
Yeah.
And I thought I would never forget her. I would never forget her. I mean, it was the best type of care that my daughter has ever gotten. So,
because that's the thing, Black doctors understand where the patient's coming from.
Yeah.
So they say, what happened? Oh, so I fell off the bus. Tell me the real story. All right, so this kid pushed me and I fell off the bus. Okay, so then we tell them what to do next and what not to do, or we'll give them a better solution for it. Because we know what's been going on. We've been through the situation, so it's just better to enhance it. I think representation is very important.
Absolutely.
Because another kid's looking up to you like, oh, you're a doctor. Maybe I want to be a doctor.
That's
Maybe I
right.
want to be a leader. You can be a leader, and I will teach you how to get there.
That's
for
right.
sure, because you need mentorship.
And that's exactly what See Her, Be Her is. It's the ability to see yourself in the woman that you're looking at. If our Black girls are not able to see strong Black women in their village, in their community, in the world, in society, how could they ever really feel confident in themselves that they can too be these things? But when they start to see the rising and the emergence of Black women coming into places of power and influence, that then compels them to say, I can do that. I can do this too, because I've seen it. So See Her, Be Her, that's exactly what the program is about.
I agree. Holistically, I feel like I would say, because you're asking about the college life, and I would say we need more community, like inclusive community, like being okay to talk to each other and just ask certain things like, I can't braid. I really want to learn how to braid. And people say, go on YouTube. It's not the same sometimes. Sometimes it's not the same. Sometimes I just need someone to hands-on teach me. And I see a girl who has nice cornrows and I want to ask her, can you help me, teach me how to braid? I know it sounds so bad. But
I love that.
and it'll be really nice for her to be like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Just having that openness with each other. I know a lot of girls feel like they're intimidated by other Black girls, but I feel like community is definitely a thing that needs to be brought up for sure.
It's what's kept us alive. The village, the community.
I agree.
Through slavery, through all the things that we encountered, community is what kept us alive.
Community, inclusiveness, creates people evolving, adapting.
Yes.
For sure. So if everyone's talking to each other, giving each other advice, helping each other move up, the community as a whole moves up.
Yes.
And if everyone's kind of fighting at each other and making each other separate, then the community as a whole separates.
That's right.
Kind of like social media a little bit right now.
What's going on social media?
I feel like it's a bit, it's like one day we're coming together, the next day they're separating. And I hate that. I hate that.
That's a whole nother tiger. We have to do a handle on another day. But
I agree.
Social media is huge. And I know that the images that our Black girls are taking and are seeing are very important to their self-esteem and self-confidence. And so we're winding up our segment here, but I want you to have an opportunity to encourage young Black girls that are listening, high schoolers, middle schoolers, college age, some words of wisdom that you would share. I consider you to be one of a young, successful Black woman that's rising and emerging and trailblazing for so many other Black women. But tell any words of encouragement or wisdom that you would share.
I would say always be authentic. You don't have to pretend to be something else just to make someone else feel comfortable or happy. I'm really big on authenticity. I am a naturally happy, hyper person. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, wee, let's go. And a lot of people are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, it's just me. You're like, you're annoying.
Energy.
Well, I love being annoying. This is who I am. I would just say, just be who you are, because if someone, quote unquote, doesn't like you, somebody else will. And if a job doesn't hire you, another job will. And I feel like being yourself, you're way much more happier than just pretending like you're something you're not. And you just don't want to settle.
That's so powerful. Be your authentic self, because there's only one you.
Yeah.
And everybody else is taken anyway.
If you love being Afrocentric, be Afrocentric. Don't let anyone else tell you not to be that way.
Yes, absolutely. I have this one colleague friend. She's so beautiful and she's so Afrocentric, and I don't know how to be that, but I admire it in her, and I'm like, this is beautiful. I love that. So be your authentic self is so important, and I think people struggle with that. We say it and we say it loosely, oh, be yourselves. But a lot of people don't know who they are. How do you be what you can't really connect to or tap into? So some people are lacking a sense of identity.
I agree. So I would say time tells, and I've been in some rooms where I don't fit in, and you start to see it, but don't let it become you. Don't let it weigh you down. Everyone's doing this. Why am I not fitting in? Maybe this isn't your place. That's okay. Still be yourself. And once you leave, you know that you've always been yourself. So if you leave and they like you, but you don't fit in, at least you're yourself.
And find your place. That's the other thing. It's
Community.
finding your place in the world, in society, whatever that is, wherever that is. So whether you're on a college campus, you're in high school, you're in middle school, graduate school, or you're in the world of work, wherever you are in your industry, or even if you're a leader or parent, find your place.
Yeah.
Because every one of us, we have a place in this world. We have a place in society. And I think a lot of the challenges is, where do I fit in? Where do I go? How do I...
But you can be multi-diverse, right?
Absolutely.
So I would say I'm multi-diverse. Like, I like video games, so sometimes I'll hang with the guys who like playing video games. I like the math and engineer guys. Sometimes I go to tech, hang with those guys. I'm a reader. I love biking. Like, it's okay to do things that not people of the same color are necessarily doing. And just, like I said, being authentic. It's okay to hang around anyone who's into engineering, but you're also into like braiding hair. It's okay to do both. It's okay to have two sets of different friends. It's okay to bring those friends together.
I love it. And that is the part of being authentic, because society oftentimes will tell you you have to choose. But what I love about this generation, and I feel like my generation started it, I'm a little biased,
I agree.
is we are not afraid to do it all. We're told pick one thing to do, and that's the only thing that you have to do. But in this world, in this generation, there is a room to be creative and to find your places in the world. So don't be afraid to choose just one thing. You might be talented in multiple areas. Pursue those avenues.
For sure. Like Keke Palmer, for example. Big example. She's an actor, a singer. I'm sure she does other things.
Yep.
Yeah, she's great. I look up to her.
I love it. So that would be one of your
Palmer.
mentors.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. One of your mentors. So we're closing here. We're at time. But this has been such an intimate, wonderful experience with you. I enjoyed sharing space, listening to you, picking your brain,
Same. Likewise.
hearing about just all the things that you're doing, the way that your mind works. I think you're brilliant. One of the most gifted and creative minds are the ones that never stops. We're always thinking, we're always evolving, we're always wanting to pursue more. And so I understand that. I share those sentiments. I'm the one that wakes up in the middle of the night with a new idea or a new strategy.
Wow, really?
How to solve a problem. I'm in my dream, I'm sleeping, but I'm vision planning. So the most brilliant minds are the ones that never stop, never sleeps. So we want to encourage you to continue being your authentic self.
Thank you.
To continue trailblazing in your industry, trailblazing in your community, in your college, and to not choose. You might be in science and government. No, you don't have to choose. So be that. Be that for the women and the ladies and the girls that are watching you that need you to be that.
Yeah, I would say one last thing. The other day I was super, super sad, right? And this girl walked up to me and she goes, "Hey, do you remember me?" And I'm like, yeah, we took micro together. And she was like, "Yeah, but I remember you. You put the umbrella over me. It was raining really bad."
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? She just brought me back to myself as to my purpose on this earth and why I do the things that I do just to make people smile, just to uplift people, to keep going. I'm like, yeah, I did give you that umbrella. It was raining. I walked you to class too. Thank you for that, Angie. Thank you. So
wow. That's so symbolic and so powerful. There's simplicity yet depthness in that.
For sure.
To cover someone and to be there to be able to, even in time of rain or in time where she probably didn't know how to get to where she's going, to have that. And we need that symbolically in our lives, those mentors, those figures that are able to come and cover us, guide us, and help us get to where we're going.
Each one teach one. It's okay to be nice.
And it's free.
Yeah.
It's free. It doesn't cost anything. So we can talk some more. We got to bring you back on, Sydney, because you're amazing.
Bring me back.
Yes, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing a space with me.
Likewise.
For sharing your story and for being just you. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you all for watching today's segment. All of our beautiful Black queens and princesses. Remember that you are wonderful and perfect the way that you are. You don't have to change for anyone. Be your authentic self. Find who you are. Find your place in this world, because there is a place or places for you. And whatever rooms that you find yourself in, remember that you belong there. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, whether you're watching on Apple, Spotify, Google, Podbeam, iHeartRadio. Continue supporting this content. It's Black History Month. We want to continue lifting up these stories and encouraging all of our Black people out there to continue being your amazing selves. We love you so much. We will be back. Stay tuned. Happy Black History Month, everyone. We love you. Stay tuned.